This short Indian engineer went from awkward silences, boring small talk, and getting constantly ghosted after first dates to having girls chase and text him first, asking for a second date, all by following the simple 7-step framework I'm about to show you in this video. Starting with the first step, which will make or break whether she's even attracted to you in the first place. Don't be afraid to say the wrong thing. Most guys are so afraid of messing things up that they become these bland, agreeable robots who never say what they actually think. Here's what's funny about that. High-quality women are attracted to men who aren't afraid to disagree with them. Think about it. If you agree with everything she says, it means one of two things is true. Either you're lying or you have nothing to add in a conversation with her. Both are massive turnoffs. Let me give you an example. The average guy will hear a girl say she loves astrology and pretend to be fascinated, even though he thinks it's complete and utter BS. Meanwhile, the guy who actually attracts her is willing to tease her and say, "Oh, so you're one of those astrology girls." In fact, I was recently on a dinner date with a girl and she would not stop talking. I'm serious, literally 20 minutes of straight yapping with me saying 0 words. I couldn't even get a breath in. I noticed she was doing it out of nervousness because she didn't want there to be any awkward silences. So at one point, I interrupted her and I just jokingly said, "Has anyone ever told you you talk a lot?" She immediately started laughing and it broke the tension. Her guard immediately went down and she laughed about it and said people tell her all the time she never knows when to shut up. Most guys would never tell a girl this because they're too afraid. The mistake the average guy makes is that he tries to maintain a perfect, polite conversation the entire time. Just boring, safe small talk that makes her want to jump out the nearest window. Tension comes from uncertainty. The fact that you don't know how she'll react to what you say is what makes the entire dating process fun. Attraction isn't built through logical conversation. It's built through emotional communication, body language, eye contact, teasing, making jokes, disagreeing with her, and those little blips of tension where you just take in the moment. This is how you keep her interested and engaged. Remember, she agreed to this date for a reason. She already sees something in you, and she's at least open to the idea of you as a romantic partner. Your job isn't to convince her you're worthy, it's to show her she was right about you. The best way to do this is to assume she's already attracted to you. Do you really think a girl who spends 2 hours getting ready isn't hoping that the date will go well? She's already invested. So going into a first date, the odds are stacked in your favor. Which leads you to my next point, which will separate you from a guy who's forgettable to the guy that women obsess over. Take the lead. Have you ever been in the middle of texting a girl and setting up a date when suddenly you get ghosted? The reason she left you on scene is because you said the wrong thing. When you meet a new girl and you're asking her out on a date, you need to make it as easy as possible for her to say yes. The whole process needs to be frictionless. The only thing she should have to do is show up and look pretty. If the girl has to pick the time, pick the place, figure out how she's getting there, and she has to spend 2 hours getting ready for the date, she's just gonna say no. Women want a man who can lead. It's literally hardwired into their DNA. How can she trust you to lead her if you can't even whip out Google Maps and pick a place to eat? That's why the text conversation and how you ask her out on the date is make or break. If you say the wrong thing, she'll never agree to the date in the first place. This is why texting is one of the most important dating skills, and if you struggle with getting ghosted before the date even happens, you need to check out my 100% free texting course. Inside, I show you the 3 best opening lines for starting the conversation, whether it's on a dating app or over text, and I show you my copy-paste message scripts for getting dates and increasing the chances she says yes in the first place. I also include real-life screenshots and examples of the blueprint in action and exactly how you can use it to get dates. So click below and get it now. It's 100% free. Now, an important bonus tip before going on the date is that the location matters. Not every first date has to be a fancy dinner where you're stuck sitting across from each other like it's some stuffy business meeting. Instead, choose something casual where you can sit next to her, move around, and actually create some tension. Anytime I go on a date with a girl, I will always request a booth or make it a point to sit next to each other rather than sit across from each other. It builds more comfort and closeness, and it makes it easier for you to physically escalate and actually connect on a deeper level. A lot of guys feel self-conscious or weird about sitting next to each other on a date, but it's actually the first thing I do once we get to the location. Even if she feels a little awkward or uncomfortable about it at first, me simply taking the lead and assuring her that it's better that we're next to each other rather than far apart makes her want to follow my lead and become comfortable with it anyways. Most guys think spending $200 to $300 on dinner will impress her, but here's what they don't understand. Women aren't attracted to your wallet. They're attracted to how you make them feel. Which brings me to the next tip, which is critical if you actually want her texting you first after the date. Don't interview the girl. What do you do for fun? Where do you go to school? Do you work? Do you like it? Do you have a dog? What kind of dog is it? Meanwhile, she's in her head thinking to herself, oh my God, will this guy just please shut the fuck up? Even I get annoyed when I go on dates with girls and they start to interview me. That's why in the story I mentioned earlier, I literally told the girl to shut up because she was talking too much and I didn't feel like we were able to build a connection. Instead, follow this simple rule for building strong emotional connections in conversation. Go deeper or different. Instead of the boring surface level interrogation of, so what do you do for work, followed by how long have you been at your job, ask something deeper like, what motivated you to pursue accounting? Most girls usually aren't into more technical roles like that. I recently asked this on a date with a girl, and she told me her parents were immigrants and always emphasized the importance of going to college and getting a good steady job. And her dad had worked in finance, so she was naturally drawn to it. You see the difference in how much you can learn about someone by just digging a little deeper? Now, instead of knowing something useless like her favorite color, you've learned she values financial stability, she comes from an immigrant background, and she had a strong relationship and influence from her dad. When you start digging deep like this, that's when the real connections are made, and the whole point of the date is to get to understand each other and see whether or not you're a good match. If you can't go deeper on a question, or you feel the conversation isn't going anywhere, this is when you want to take it in a different direction. If you ask a question, instead of rushing to fill the silence with another surface level question, you should make statements and share your opinions about what she says. And that's why my next point is even more important. You want to adopt the audition frame. This is when you turn the tables and position yourself as the one choosing rather than the one trying to be chosen. In other words, you go from, am I good enough for her, to, is she good enough for me? Think of it like a job interview. Imagine you're sitting across from your potential future employer. You're anxiously listing off your resume, your successes, your achievements, everything you've accomplished that makes you worthy of being chosen. But ask yourself honestly, who holds the power and authority in that room? It's definitely not you, it's the interviewer. By desperately trying to sell yourself, you place yourself beneath them. This exact dynamic plays out on dates. When you try to impress her by saying what you think she wants to hear, you're instantly lowering yourself. She doesn't see you as an equal. She subconsciously sees you as someone beneath her who has to earn her approval. Instead, just say exactly what you feel, not what you think she wants to hear. Let her feel like she's the one auditioning for you. This instantly positions you as confident, valuable, and authentic, someone worth impressing, because the truth is, if you're a successful man with your life together, you don't actually need her. You want her to be a bonus and an addition to your life. So you should authentically be vetting to see if she's the right person for you. Now, once you've established the audition frame and she's finally starting to see your value, it's important that you remember the next tip, because if you get this step wrong, you'll land right in the friend zone. But if you get it right, attraction skyrockets instantly. Don't wait too long to escalate. Physical escalation isn't optional, it's necessary. If you wait too long, attraction evaporates. We're not in middle school anymore. Going on a first date and having no physical connection is going to destroy your chances of a second date. A lot of smart, successful men think they need to follow a perfect formula or check a bunch of boxes before making a move on a girl. Massive mistake. You can and should be doing small physical escalation at all times. Holding hands, putting your arm around her, hugging her, because it communicates your romantic interest. If you wait too long, she'll lose respect for you because she assumes you're too scared to make a move. Now, when you do actually make your move, you want to escalate verbally before you escalate physically. Make a flirty comment, tease her a bit, make a little bit of a risky joke, do some sort of escalation with your words first and see how she reacts. If she seems uncomfortable, then you know she's still not ready for you to make a move physically. If she reacts positively, then you know there's a very good chance she'll like it when you make a move by physically putting your arm around her, holding her hand, or even going in for the kiss. Escalating this way ensures that the girl is 100% comfortable at all times, and it gives you an easy way to read her interest level so you don't cross any boundaries. This is why it's critical that you do the next tip, because if you master this next subtle move, you'll effortlessly create intimacy in every conversation, and that's maintain strong eye contact. Most guys are terrified of locking eyes with a woman and keeping her gaze, yet this is the most important aspect of building sexual tension. Too many men will break eye contact if it lasts longer than 2 or 3 seconds out of nervousness and fear, and this is an instant turnoff, because if you as the man can't even hold basic eye contact with a girl without being scared, why should she choose to follow your lead? That's why as a man you need to constantly lead by example and through your actions. And that's why this next tip is so important to keep in mind, which is don't be afraid to slow things down. If you want to make a move on a date, it needs to be subtle and smooth. When you get to more intimate environments such as your house, quieter part of the bar or the party, and it's just you and the girl, slow down. Take it easy. Talk slower, maintain stronger eye contact, slow down the cadence of your speech, and you can even lower the volume of your voice because it's just you and her. All of these subtle communicators help put her in the mood and will make your conversation a lot more romantic regardless of what is being said. The fact that you feel confident and comfortable to slow things down shows that you're moving at your own pace, that you're your own person, and if you want to take the conversation in a different direction, you feel confident and comfortable enough to do it on your own. And if she seems receptive and comfortable, then you can start slowly escalating physically and see how she responds. Now, there's a lot that goes into setting the vibe and truly crushing a first date. Building genuine romantic basic attraction with a woman isn't exactly as simple as 2 + 2 = 4. First dates are something that are truly make or break because they can be the catalyst for starting a perfect relationship with your beautiful dream woman, or they can be your downfall. And one of the brutal truths that most guys miss is that crushing first dates actually starts before you even meet her. Your dating profile, your Instagram, your cold approach, even your text conversations leading up to it, these are the real moments that determine if she'll agree to go out on the date in the first place. If your dating profiles don't instantly convey value, or if your cold approaches are ending in rejections, you'll never make it to the date at all. So if you're tired of missed opportunities and wondering why you're stuck in the friend zone, click the first link in the description right now and apply to join my personalized one-on-one coaching program. We'll build your entire dating funnel for you from scratch and hold your hand through cold approach and text conversations to make sure you're never making any mistakes that are stopping you from getting the girl of your dreams. So if you're a successful guy who wants the shortcut to meeting your future wifey, click on the link below and apply to work with me. This is the exact same process we use with my client Hector. In fact, we helped him run his first date so well that the girl told him she didn't expect to feel so comfortable with him. Setting the vibe right from the start with her was key, and now just a few months later, they finally went official. Hector went from being depressed after a nasty divorce to settling down with a beautiful girl he says is intelligent, an amazing cook, and shares his value, which is what every guy is truly after. So if you want to be the next guy to transform like Hector, click below and apply to work with me.